Welcome to Opaless TV. Today I'm in London together with Khing Oei. I have known Khing for a number of years because he has had a distinguished career in hedge funds. Now, for the last 1.5 years, Khing and his team have been building a very fascinating fintech company that we will talk about in detail. But before we go into the product, let's hear from Khing how we started in this industry.
So I'm Dutch. I studied a Master's of Econometrics in Amsterdam, and after that I started working at Goldman Sachs in London. I first started in M&A and then moved to the European Special Situations Group, which is the distressed investing group under fixed income. So it's proprietary capital of the firm investing across the cap structure, and I learned a ton there. I then moved to Fortress, a US hedge fund, where I was doing essentially the same thing, looking at European distressed situations. And after that I was asked to start and run Halcyon's European credit business. Halcyon, multi-billion US fund, now called Bard & Hill. And I built a business from scratch to multi-billions of assets under management and a team. I then left to start my own hedge fund, iCapital Management, focused on European distressed situations. At the peak we managed $200 million of assets under management and a team of 8. So the philosophy behind AlphaSwap came from issues that I've been seeing in the asset management industry. It's an industry that has been plagued by lack of transparency, lack of alignment of interest, high fees, and very often poor performance. And that's why I've seen a big shift from active to passive management. On the other side, we've seen underutilization of the global investment talent pool. Some reasons behind it are regulation, which has led to MiFID II and layoffs in the sector, consolidation in the sector, lower margins, and also what I would call a problem of exclusivity, where you really need to be having had the right education, live in the right location in order to participate. So those are the two issues we've seen, which has led to our, what I call next generation asset management platform, where you blend the two and have a asset manager which is driven by the community at lower fees. So from a perspective of the investment talent, meaning portfolio manager or analyst, they would contribute investment ideas backed by research, backed by conviction level, which is expressed in credits, and obviously their background and their track record. The community then contributes to the ecosystem by voting on these ideas, again using credits. So the credits are a way to express conviction level and skin in the game. We then use our proprietary algorithm to interpret all that data and essentially pick the best ideas, i.e. the ideas that the network and us expect to perform best. Those then get invested in a very well diversified portfolio, and from there on, investors get the chance to invest in those funds. So from the perspective of fund investors, whether they're retail or family offices or institutional, they get to invest in diversified fund, which they know has been contributed to by highly incentivized, skin in the game contributors from all over the world. And the majority of the fees that they would pay, which are below industry fees, by the way, would go back to that user community, to the contributors.
All right, Khing, I'm wondering what asset classes do you actually handle with AlphaSwap? And then also, do you yourself do all the execution and the risk monitoring and all of these functions?
Yeah, so initially we're really starting with equities, global equities. And as we move on, we'll add different asset classes to the offering. And I compared a little bit to the Apple Music library, where you have a large list of ideas from all over the world, all equities, and we then pick the different fund strategies from that list. So US equities, ESG compliant, global technology stocks. We pick the best ideas in each sub-strategy and build a fund around it. And in the same manner, we can build different asset classes on top of that. But definitely start with equities. And it's really the whole asset management infrastructure, and we certainly are building an institutional type infrastructure here that goes all the way from the idea selection to then the order management, execution management, portfolio management, risk management, and all the way circular to make sure that clearly we manage portfolio in the most effective way with the best risk reward for the ultimate fund investors.
Khing, with your offering at AlphaSwap, who are you targeting as the actual users of the system?
So we're really targeting three types. One is professional investors, and it ranges from portfolio manager to analysts and everything in between. The second type is what I would call former professional investors. There's a lot of very talented investors out there that may not be in the seat right now. And again, it's from portfolio manager to analyst, the whole range. And the third type is what I call aspiring investors. So really smart people who are maybe in a different job right now, but they've been investing a lot on the side and they have a lot of interest in doing that. And AlphaSwap is a unique platform for all three of them, but also for the latter one, to create track records and to build a reputation in a network. So let me give you a bit more detail on the reasons why people would join AlphaSwap. There's really three reasons. One is ideas, two is performance measurement, and three is economics. So on ideas, it's a platform where people can share their ideas, get feedback on them, build traction on them, and also learn about other ideas and have inspiration of things they can work on. It's also a platform where you can actually vote on ideas and be involved, contribute to ideas that other people have come up with and get economics out of it. Then secondly, performance measurement. AlphaSwap will build track records for all users in the blockchain, which will be accessible if they allow it to, if they want to. But that's clearly a very powerful tool for ambitious investors who want to build a track record to either gain more influence on our platform or over time start their own fund. Also under performance measurement is clearly, it's a community, it's collaboration, but at the same time we'll be also singling out the best performers. So there's a competitive element too, which we'll be measuring. And then thirdly is economics. AlphaSwap is really the first platform of its kind that will pay significant economics purely out of performance fees to the users. And that is really a new type of business model where as an asset manager, you pay directly to the users. So we believe that we're truly the only platform out there, and first in its kind, that offers all these benefits to both the investment community and the investor community in funds, where you combine those things that I mentioned before: alignment of interest, transparency, low fees, and generating alpha. Ultimately, that's what it's about.
So Khing, tell us in greater detail, how are you different from the other, let's call it, idea sharing platforms that are out there?
So I would say there are three types of platforms with which you compete. There's ID sharing platforms, there are prediction platforms, and there are alpha capture platforms. And we like to think that we actually take the best of each, and in that sense have a unique business model. So in regards ID sharing platforms, most of those make their money either of ad revenues or of commission, of trading volume. And that's something that none of that applies to AlphaSwap. We really only make money ourselves, and most importantly, the users make money if there's performance. It's pure in performance. So we actually really care how the ideas perform, as opposed to a trade is a trade and we make commission anyway. That's a big difference. The other big difference with called prediction and alpha capture platforms is that we really have a community. So it's really the community that through its voting and then through our algorithmic overlay really decides what are the ideas that should be in the portfolio. And that's a big difference there. So I would say overall, what we combine at AlphaSwap is the economics that make it really attractive for the users, but also have the whole system designed to perform. That's the most important thing.
It looks like AlphaSwap has really a unique technology behind it and driving all processes. Please tell us more about that.
So yeah, what we're doing was not possible 10 years ago. What enables AlphaSwap, the AlphaSwap ecosystem to work right now is in a large part blockchain technology. So to have a global community of users in essence work together, have the right incentives, the right staking, and then have the economics go back to the right users is only possible now with blockchain technology. So that's a very important component. Second one is the track records. There's always a lot of uncertainty about track records, but now you can put it in a blockchain. They are immutable, they're audited, and that's very powerful to give that objectivity level to the track records of both users and our funds. And then the third level is actually artificial intelligence, because we are getting so much data from our users that our own system learns a lot in terms of what are effectively the ideas that have the most probability of performing well based on the user's track record, based on the voting, the number of voters, the sector, a whole range of inputs that effectively become self-learning. So those are the three important technological components which is sort of the why now question and why is this all going to work now.
So King, this is fascinating. I mean, I can clearly see how you are addressing the global community of investment talent, right? That I also know is out there globally, just from my own trips and travels all over the globe since I started Opalesk. And I also believe you are trying to address the global investor community, right? So tell us more about the vehicles and about the ways that you are providing to the global investor community to invest in AlphaSwap. So what type of funds, what type of vehicles, etc.
Yeah, so the type of investors we're targeting is really broad range. It's from retail all the way institutional and everything in between, high net worth, family offices. And clearly to be able to offer our funds to all of those type of investors, we need a whole range of fund structures. So it's a real institutionalized, broad fund offering in different jurisdictions and in different formats. We're probably going to start in Europe and from there expand. And that also leads to what we think is our overall vision of the longer-term vision for AlphaSwap, is to be able to offer a very customized fund range as we get more ideas and more contributors to the platform. So for instance, you can imagine at some point you really see through the survival of the fittest who are really the top investors on our platform, the top contributors, and they can get their own fund. Maybe one investor says, I really like that specific contributor, can we get a managed account by him or her? You could also imagine that you pick the 10 best telco investors, and one could be sitting in the States, one in Asia, one in Africa, you could be from all over, and they together, without even knowing each other, but enabled by our technology, can be running a global fund together. So there's a lot of additional layers of customization that we will add over time once the basis is there and once the ecosystem is up and running. Let me tell you more about our team and who's behind this. So we have top professionals, both from the technology side, from the commercial side, and also from the asset management side, both in the team as well as on our advisory board. So what's really exciting to see is that our vision has really become reality. We have investment talent from all over the world contributing ideas, a very active community. Performance has been great, and this is all really leading us to an ecosystem that is essentially the next generation asset manager, which is what AlphaSwap is about.